Karen Whitmore's morning started with 3 earth-shattering discoveries that would change everything. First, she found a pink flamingo, plastic pink flamingo, brazenly displayed in Mrs. Chen's front yard, violating HOA Statute 14.72 regarding appropriate lawn ornamentation. Second, the new neighbor at 1247 Maple Street had painted their shutters forest green instead of the approved colonial sage, a crime so heinous Karen nearly choked on her organic fair trade coffee. But the third discovery made her blood pressure skyrocket to dangerous levels. Someone had installed a basketball hoop, portable basketball hoop, visible from the street. "This is war," Karen muttered, clutching her laminated copy of the Willowbrook Estates Homeowners Association bylaws like a weapon. Karen had been the self-appointed guardian of neighborhood standards for 7 years, ever since she'd lost the HOA presidency to that insufferable Janet Morrison by a single vote. Today, she would reclaim her rightful place as the neighborhood's moral authority. She grabbed her clipboard, emergency citation booklet, and measuring tape, then marched toward 1247 Maple Street with the determination of a general heading into battle. The house looked innocent enough, a modest 2-story colonial with cream siding and those offending forest green shutters. But Karen's trained eye spotted violations everywhere: grass slightly over the 3-inch regulation height, a welcome mat that was clearly navy instead of the approved charcoal gray, and worst of all, a garden gnome peeking out from behind the rose bushes. She knocked on the door with authority, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against the wood in a rhythm that suggested serious business. When no one answered after exactly 30 seconds, she timed it. Karen walked around to the backyard, justifying her trespass as necessary HOA inspection duties. What she found there made her gasp audibly. The backyard was a wonderland of violations. Wind chimes that weren't regulation brass, a fire pit that exceeded the approved dimensions, and children's toys scattered across what should have been a pristine lawn. But it was the shed, painted barn red instead of neutral beige, that sent Karen into full documentation mode. "Excuse me, what are you doing in my backyard?" Karen spun around to find a tall man in his 30s, holding a coffee mug and looking thoroughly unimpressed. This had to be David Martinez, the new homeowner who clearly had no respect for community standards. "I'm conducting an official HOA inspection," Karen announced, holding up her clipboard like a badge, "and I'm finding numerous violations that require immediate attention." David's eyebrows rose. "You're trespassing on my private property." "I'm enforcing community standards," Karen shot back. "Your shed is the wrong color, your grass is too long, and don't get me started on that basketball hoop in your driveway. Lady, I don't know who you think you are, but you need to leave. Now." Karen straightened her spine, feeling the familiar rush of righteous indignation. "I'm Karen Whitmore, Compliance Committee Chair, and I'll leave when I'm finished documenting these violations. You signed an agreement when you moved here." She continued photographing violations with her phone, narrating each infraction for her voice memos. David watched in bewilderment as she measured his fence height, examined his mailbox placement, and even critiqued his choice of outdoor light fixtures. "This is insane," David muttered, pulling out his own phone. "I'm calling the police." Karen laughed, actually laughed. "Go ahead, they can't stop me from doing my job." But as she watched David dial 911, a tiny seed of doubt planted itself in her mind. She'd pushed boundaries before, but never quite like this. Still, she was too committed now to back down. The neighborhood standards depended on her vigilance. 20 minutes later, Officer Rodriguez arrived to find Karen still in the backyard, now examining the chemical composition of David's pool water. The expression on the policeman's face suggested this wasn't going to end the way Karen had anticipated. Something about his serious tone and the way David was documenting everything with his phone made Karen realize she might have miscalculated. But admitting defeat wasn't in her vocabulary, not when the integrity of Willowbrook Estates hung in the balance.